Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Perth East Council, this 17th day of October. I'd like to call our meeting to order. If everyone could please bow their head for a moment of reflection. Thank you. We have a motion to confirm the agenda, that the agenda as prepared for October 17, 2023, meeting of council of the Township of Perth East be approved as received. Moved by Hugh, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. If you have pecuniary interest, you can disclose that now or as the meeting goes along. We have 21 items on our consent agenda. Is there any item anyone would like pulled, or they have any questions on any of those? Seeing none, then we do have a motion that items 5.1.1 to 5.1.21 is set out on the consent agenda for October 17, 2023 regular meeting of council be received for information, and the minutes of the Perth East Public Library Board meeting October 10, 2023 and the Perth East Fire Department Joint Advisory Committee meeting October 2nd, 2023 be received for information, and further that the minutes of October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting be adopted. Moved by Jerry, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we do not have any delegations tonight. We do have two public meetings, and the first public meeting is zoning bylaw amendment submitted by Bram Vandenheuvel, Stonecrest Engineering, on behalf of Stryker Transport. So this public meeting is being held to consider a proposed zoning bylaw amendment affecting property currently owned by Stryker Transport, Edith Stryker, Concession 9, North Part Lot 9, 7422, Road 129. The meeting is an opportunity for the township to advise the public of the purpose and intent of the amendment and receive their input prior to considering adoption of an implementing bylaw. If a bylaw is adopted to implement the zoning amendment, a notice of passing will be forwarded by prepaid first-class mail to various agencies of interest and others who have requested notice. An appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal objecting to the adoption of the bylaw may be filed with the clerk not later than the date stated on the notice. Any person attending this meeting who wishes to receive written notice of a bylaw passed to implement the amendment is asked to give their name and mailing address to the clerk following this meeting. No written notice, except as previously noted, will be given unless requested by email following the meeting. All persons attending this meeting will be given an opportunity to be heard or make a presentation. I will now call on our planner, Pune, to present the planning report and recommendations, and she's joining us on the screen. So good evening, Pune. Good to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor Agates, and council members and members of the public. With your permission, I will share my screen.
Sure.
Right. So today I'd like to present to you the zoning bylaw amendment application submitted by Bram Vandenheuvel of Stonecrest Engineering on behalf of Stryker Transport. The property is located on 7422 Road 129, east of line 76. It's right east of the village of Newton. The site is surrounded by farmlands. An earlier public meeting was held on July 17, but due to discrepancies in the proposed gross floor area and MDS1 calculation, this public meeting was deemed necessary. The subject lands are approximately 41 hectare in area and are comprised of a split zoning. The current trucking operation is approximately 1.6 hectare in area and is zoned Special Agriculture Commercial Industrial Zone, ACM-47. The remaining lands are zoned A, agricultural, and the applicant is proposing to expand the ACM-47 zone to an additional 2.4 hectare, resulting in a total area of 4.1 hectare for the trucking operation. The amendment is also proposing to amend the site-specific zoning to increase the maximum gross building floor area from 1,400 square meters to 5,584 square meters. The larger portion of the subject property will remain in agricultural production. The lands associated with the livestock tracking facility include a single detached dwelling, a one-story steel building facing Road 129, an office repair garage, and a liquid manure storage tank. The dwelling and the striker transport have separate private wells, septic system, and access point onto Road 129. The proposed expansion of striker transport will allow for on-site repairs and washing of their fleet on site. The operation currently has 25 trucks on site, and with the proposed expansion, they will be able to accommodate a total of 35 trucks or vehicles. The additional buildings will be constructed to accommodate more employees and provide extra storage space. To support this application, the applicant provided an MDS1 calculation and a planning justification report. The provincial policy statement strives to create resilient communities. Section 111 emphasizes the importance of promoting healthy, livable, and safe communities while incorporating efficient land use patterns and a diverse range of land uses and cost-effective development standards that minimize land consumption and servicing costs, and considering the impacts of climate change in development and land use decisions. It also further has policies for primary agricultural lands, and permitted uses are limited to agricultural uses, agricultural-related uses, and on-farm diversified uses that are defined as follows, as per section 2.3 of the PPS. Agricultural uses means the growing of crops, including nursery, biomass, and horticultural crops, raising of livestock, raising of other animals or foods, and including but not limited and associated on-farm buildings and structures, including but not limited to livestock facilities, manure storages, value retaining facilities, and accommodation for full-time farm labor when the size and nature of the operation requires additional employment. It also permits, as I mentioned, agricultural-related uses and on-farm diversified uses. It further elaborates that proposed uses must be compatible with and not hinder surrounding agricultural operation and must comply with the minimum distance separation calculation. Now, there is a guideline on permitted uses in Ontario's prime agricultural areas that was released in 2016 by the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. It's the OMAFRA guideline we refer to as, which is an accompanying resource to the PPS. It furthers provides guidance on approved activities within prime agricultural areas. Within these guidelines, Section 2.2 provides detailed criteria for agricultural-related uses, including farm-related commercial or farm-related industrial uses, ensuring compatibility with and support for surrounding agricultural operation, adhering to environmental standards, maintaining the area's rural character, and being directly related to nearby farm operations. Furthermore, the guidance emphasizes the significance of offering products and services to farms and capitalizing on the advantages of proximity to farm operations. The Perth County Official Plan, the site is designated as agriculture under the Perth County Official Plan, and a small portion of this site is within the Natural Resource Environment designation, but the area that is affected by this application is just the agricultural designation. The agricultural designation makes provision for farm-related commercial and industrial activities as per Section 5.5.10. New uses and expansions to existing uses are to consider a number of factors, including minimizing loss of productive farmland, amount of land required for the use, size of operation, grouping of uses, MDS1 distance, on-site servicing, road access, drainage, and site plan agreement. The subject parcel is within the agricultural zone, and again, a small portion, the northeast of the site is within the Natural Resource Environment NRE2 zone. The site that we're discussing today is zoned A, agricultural. And under the A zone, tracking operation, livestock is not permitted. For that reason, an amendment is required to expand that ACM zone to accommodate the proposed use. And the existing ACM-47 limits the uses to livestock tracking depot and accessory uses. It also establishes a minimum front yard setback of 31 meters, recognizes the already reduced MDS1 setback from the neighboring livestock at the time of the initial rezoning in 2014, and states permitted uses shall not reduce the existing minimum distance separation from the existing vacant livestock facility that is located on Parlot 10, concession 9. It's east of the subject site, Monitor Ward. Now, the first notice of public meeting was issued in accordance with Planning Act regulations on June 23, 2023. The first public meeting took place on July 18, and the second notice was provided on September 27 of this year. As of the time of writing this report, we have received following comments. Township of Perth East Public Works Department indicated they do not have any concerns with the proposed rezoning application. Township of Perth East Fire Department reviewed the fire route, indicated they have no issues with the proposal. The GRCA indicated, the Grand River Conservation Area Authority indicated they do not have any concerns with the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application. They further indicated that any future development or site alteration on the remaining agricultural lands may be subject to land use permit from the GRCA. And after submission of the planning report, public comments, we have received a few public comments, and I believe the copy has been provided to you of the summary of the comments. Now, one comment is from the property owner at 7154 Road 129. They are neighbors. They submitted a letter expressing concerns about the proposed addition. The main concerns are the noise from increased trucking operation and also traffic generated as a result of increased trucks and vehicles, and the potential safety risks for children in the area. Another comment was received today from a business owner at 7157 Road 129, the comment is similar to the earlier comment, and there is also concerns about the traffic and the safety that is provided to the council as well. I'm going to go back to this slide. So in terms of planning analysis, there are two areas that planning department deems important to think about. One is the section 5510F, that use must be one that does not require municipal water or sewage services, and the method of water supply and sewage disposal must satisfy all applicable requirements concerning same. Generally, any permitted farm-related industrial use should be a dry operation, where wastewater discharges are minimal and which meets the applicable regulations of the appropriate regulatory authority. Now, with respect to this section, it is noted that additional wastewater is expected as a result of this expansion. As such, there is an existing holding tank that is expected to accommodate the need for additional water. And as I mentioned, Public Works Department reviewed the site plan and indicated they have no issues with the proposal. Another section is section 5510E of the official plan, and the minimum, that's regarding the minimum distance separation and that it shall apply in respect to all new farm-related commercial industrial uses where an existing farm-related commercial or industrial use is being expanded through a building expansion. The building expansion shall either satisfy the MDS1 distance or be located no closer to neighboring farm operation than the existing farm-related commercial or industrial use building. And with respect to this section, it should be noted that there is an occupied barn, as I mentioned earlier, on this site, 7478 Road 129, and which was considered at the time of the original rezoning in 2014. The planning department evaluated the proposal at the time. They recognized the minimum distance separation should be reduced for that proposal. However, the amendment was written in a way that it does not allow for additional decrease in MDS1. And the reason is because if the neighboring barn becomes active, there is potential for the facility to house livestock. And the MDS guidelines ensure that future agricultural-related operations can coexist without negatively impacting one another. And since the last public meeting, the owner and the agents collaborated to ensure the building is relocated to satisfy the MDS1 calculation requirement. A revised MDS1 calculation was provided by Jeff Bannerman, who was an industry and management consultant. So the distance from the new truck wash bay to the neighboring livestock is 397 meters, whereas a 372 meter is the minimum requirement. And the required distance from the neighboring barn to the existing manure storage is 372 meters, and the actual distance is 373 meters. And consequently, the proposed wash bay facility does not only meets the MDS1 calculation requirement, but is also situated further away from the neighboring livestock facility than the existing manure storage. With regards to parking, the minimum parking requirement based on the proposed gross floor area is 140 spaces, and the consultant has confirmed that the proposal meets the requirement of the zoning bylaw. The details of the requirement for parking will be further evaluated at the site plan application approval stage. Just going to go back to this slide. So in conclusion, the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is proposing expansion of the existing trucking facility on the subject lands and it services neighboring agricultural business in the area. To support this business expansion, there's a proposed increase in the ACM zone and additional gross floor area. This is consistent with the direction of the PPS and conforms to the County of Perth official plan. It represents good planning. And as a result, planning staff recommend approval of the application. With this, I'd like to conclude my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition of the application? Seeing no one, is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in support of the application other than the applicant or the applicant's agent? Seeing no one, does the applicant or the applicant's agent have any comments in respect to the application? If you would come to the microphone, please, and give us your name and your address.
Yeah, Josh Wagler with Stonecrest Engineering. Just want to thank Pune for the presentation, and she had raised a couple of concerns from the neighbors that Paul has actually reached or spoke directly with one of the neighbors and talked about the concern a little bit. So if there's anything that we can do to address those further, then we'd be open to that and try to answer any questions that we can. So thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions from members of council? No? Okay, so council will consider a resolution regarding the planning report recommendation following the conclusion of the public meeting and bylaw number 201-2023 to implement the approval of the zoning application will be considered later within the council agenda. So does everyone understand the process? This is just a public meeting. So the concerns come here. Another report will come back later with a recommendation.
No, not tonight.
Not tonight? No. Oh, sorry, not tonight. Okay, then we do have a recommendation that council receive the report dated October 17, 2023, prepared by the planner entitled Zoning Bylaw Amendment D14-Z01-2023-PE, submitted by Brand Vanden Heuvel of Stonecrest Engineering on behalf of Stryker Transport, Inc., affecting lands described as Concession 9, North Part, Lot 9, 7422, Road 129, Mornington Ward, Township of Perth East, and that council held a statutory meeting pursuant to Section 34 of the Planning Act with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment D14-Z01-2023-PE, and that council approve zoning bylaw amendment 201-2023. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Hugh, second by Bob. Any more comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we're going to move now to our second public meeting. And our second public meeting is a meeting being held to consider a proposed zoning bylaw amendment affecting property currently owned by Todd and Alice Steinman, Concession 6, Part Lot 26, 3424, Road 108A. And I'm not going to read all the preamble. I'm going to jump right down to our planner, Pune. And Pune, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Hitz. With your permission, I will share my screen again. So this is a zoning bylaw amendment application for a zone change that is required to satisfy condition of consent, file number B1023. The property is located at 3424 Road 108A, Southeast Hope Ward, Township of Perth East. The owner are Alison Todd Simon, agent is Baker Planning Group. So the subject land, this consent application was endorsed by the Township of Perth East on August 18th, and it is currently in the process of receiving conditional approval through Land Division Committee or its delegated approval authority. The associated consent file proposes to sever dwelling that is surplus to a farming operation. The zoning bylaw amendment applies to both the severed and retained lands. The severed land has a lot frontage of approximately 41 hectare on Perth Line 108A and a lot area of approximately 0.84 hectare. The parcel contains an existing two-story single detached dwelling, woodshed, well, septic system, and an accessory structure. No further development is proposed for the severed lot. The retained lot has a frontage of approximately 900 meter on Perth Line 108 and a lot area of approximately 40.4 hectare. The retained farmlands are vacant of any structures and will continue to be used for agricultural production. There is an existing entrance from Perth Line 108A to the severed lot and two entrances from Perth Line 108A and Perth Line 26 to the retained lands. The property is located in the Southeast Ward and are surrounded by agricultural uses. The severed parcel is is designated agricultural in the Perth County official plan through OPA 217, and the retained land is designated mineral aggregate resource, primary or secondary aggregate, agricultural and natural resource environment. The subject lands are currently within the agricultural zone, agricultural special 2 zone of the Perth Township of Perth East zoning bylaw and natural resource environment -2. And the A zone applies to potential sand and gravel deposits identified in the Perth County official plan. The existing site-specific zone limits the uses to agricultural uses and buildings and structures necessary for agricultural use, excluding any new single detached dwelling. This zoning bylaw amendment facilitates the change in land use for both the severed and retained portions of the subject lands by specifying which parcel has a non-farm residential dwelling and where the existing farmland is to be protected. The provincial policy statement protects the long-term use of the agricultural lands through sections 2.3 and also section 5 of the official plan echoes the same values. Through section 23.1 of the provincial policy statement, surplus farm residential severances are permitted. And the Perth County official plan section 5631 includes policies to allow for the severance of dwellings that are surplus to farming operations. The official plan requires that the severed lands be rezoned to recognize a house that is not accessory to agriculture, while the retained portion is to be rezoned to prohibit any new permanent residential dwelling on the remnant farm property. These measures are in place to ensure that retained farmland is protected for long-term agricultural use while providing the means for farmers to preserve existing housing stock that may not be essential to their operation. Now, to bring the application into conformity with the official plan, a rezoning application is required to recognize the house that is not accessory to agriculture on the severed lot and prohibit any permanent residential structures on the retained lot. The minimum lot size for the agricultural zone in the Perth East for other permitted uses other than agricultural use is 1,850 square meters. The minimum lot area for agricultural uses in the agricultural zone is 33 hectare. The minimum lot frontage is 30 meters for other permitted uses and 200 required for the agricultural uses. Both the severed and retained lots conform to the applicable provisions of Section 6 of the Perth East zoning bylaw as they relate to lot area, lot coverage, lot frontage, and setbacks. The site-specific zoning will ensure conformity with the sections of the county's official plan and the provincial policy statement. As for public notice, notice of the complete application and the public meeting was given in accordance with the Planning Act requirements on September 27. No comments have been received at the time of preparing this planning report. If any comments are received during this public meeting, further planning comments can be provided. There is a conclusion that the staff have no objection to the proposed rezoning to satisfy the conditions of section of consent B1023 to several residential dwelling that is surplus to farming operation. This application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and conforms with the County of Perth's official plan. This, I would like to conclude my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition of the application? Seeing no one, is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in support of the application other than the applicant or the applicant's agent? Seeing no one, does the applicant or the applicant's agent have comments in respect to the application and draft zoning bylaw? No? Are there any questions from members of council? No questions. Council will consider a resolution regarding the planning report recommendation following the conclusion of the public meeting. Bylaw number 205-2023 to implement the approval of the zoning application will be considered later within the council agenda. So we do have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report dated October 17, 2023, prepared by the planner entitled Zoning Bylaw Amendment D14-Z05-2023-PE, submitted by Baker Planning Group, Caroline Baker, on behalf of Alice and Todd Steinman, affecting lands described as Part Lot 26, Concession 6, 3424 Road 108A, Southeast Hope Ward, Township of Perth East. And that council held a statutory public meeting pursuant to Section 34 of the Planning Act with respect to zoning bylaw amendment D14-Z05-2023-PE, and that council approves zoning bylaw amendment 205-2023. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Hughes, second by Amanda. All those in favor? Carried. The public meeting is now concluded, and we will continue with the regular meeting of council. Okay, so next on our agenda is public hearings, and we have a minor variance application for a parcel here in Milverton, 3 St. Mary's Street, and Jeff is joining us via Zoom as well. There he is. Jeff, good evening, Jeff, and we're ready to go, so the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm not with it. I have a little thing to read first. Public hearing is being held to consider an application affecting property currently owned by Christian Dragoyle and part of Lot 416, reference Plan 363, Part Lot 146, Milverton Ward, 3 St. Mary's Street North. Purpose of this hearing is to give the committee and the public an opportunity to hear all interested persons in respect to the proposed application and receive their input, and for the committee to make a decision on the application. All persons attending this hearing will be given an opportunity to be heard or make a presentation. Committee members may ask questions for the purposes of clarifying the application, but are asked to withhold comments on this application until all present have been given an opportunity to be heard. Any person present who wishes to receive written notice of the decision made by the Committee of Adjustment is asked to give their name and mailing address to the Secretary-Treasurer at this time. An appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal objecting to the decision made at this hearing may be filed with the Secretary-Treasurer not later than November 6, 2023. No written notice, except as previously noted, will be given unless requested at this time. I will now call on Planner Jeff to present the planning report and recommendations. So Jeff, now the floor is yours.
Thank you. So minor variance application A15 2023 was submitted by Christian Dragoy. The subject property is located at 3 St. Mary's Street North in Milverton, on the north side of St. Mary's Street North, between Fulton Street and Mill Street East. It is approximately 580 square meters in size. It has a frontage of approximately 16.9 meters. The owner is proposing to construct a 35 square meter accessory building that is seeking relief for the increased building height of 6.45 meters, whereas 4.5 meters is maximum allowable height. and an increased lot coverage for the accessory building of 6 meters, whereas 5 meters is the maximum allowable coverage. The accessory structure is proposed to be used as a garage for residential storage, with the possibility of converting the storage space to residential space sometime in the future. The property is recognized by the County of Perth official plan as a serviced urban area within the settlement areas and within the residential designation in the Milverton official plan. Construction of a new accessory building will support the continuing mix of dwellings and structures in the area, and the request to increase the lot coverage of this structure will still allow for a building and property that is compatible with the residential neighborhood. The garage is intended to provide for a covered parking area for the existing detached dwelling that is located adjacent to the rear yard of the properties which front onto Mill Street East. Minor variances conform with the Perth County and the Milverton official plans. Property is also zoned residential, medium density R2 in the zoning bylaw. The accessory building is a permitted use. The maximum accessory height and the maximum lot coverage for accessory buildings is intended to, in part, to ensure that residential accessory structures remain secondary to the main dwelling and that privacy and shadowing is controlled to the adjacent properties. The minor variances allow for an increased lot coverage that is appropriate development within the medium density residential development area. The structure is set back sufficiently from lot lines to minimize impacts on the adjacent residences, and the variances will not have a negative impact on the neighboring lands. The applicant is also able to meet all other zoning requirements with the proposed development, including setbacks from all other lot lines. They are able to provide for an adequate amount of amenity space in the rear yard, and proper drainage can still be maintained with the proposed size of the structure. As a result, the minor variances are considered to be minor in nature for the lands. The owner is proposing to construct a new single-car garage in a location that will meet the required setbacks. The garage will be accessed by a new driveway, and parking is being proposed at the front of the property. The structure will be partially screened by the existing trees and will be adjacent to the rear yard of 2 neighboring properties and the side yard of another property that all have frontage on Mill Street East. Property at 52 Mill Street East has an interior side yard that significantly exceeds the zoning bylaw requirements, and the increased building height is not expected to impact the rear yard privacy of the properties on Mill Street East or the privacy in the side yard of the property at 52 Mill Street East. The proposed size and location of the accessory dwelling will result in a structure that is in conformity with all other provisions of the zoning bylaw, and it allows for a consistent streetscape, and the proposed development can be considered to be appropriate and desirable use of the property. As a result, the planning department is of the opinion that minor variants are appropriate for the site. No written comments have been received from the departments or agencies. One resident asked for information on the location of the proposed structure on the property. The application of the minor variance conforms to the official plan policies, maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan and the zoning bylaw. Variances are minor and desirable for the use of the land, and as a result, approval of the variances is recommended. I'm available to answer any questions from council.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition of the application? Seeing no one, is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in support of the application other than the applicant or the applicant's agent? Seeing no one, does the applicant or the applicant's agent have comments in respect to the application? No? Are there questions from committee members? No, the committee will now consider a motion regarding the application. And the motion is that the Township of Perth East Committee of Adjustment receive the report dated October 17, 2023, prepared by the planner entitled Application for Minor Variance D13-A15-2023-PE, submitted by Christian Drago, affecting lands described as Part Lot 146, Plan 363, Milverton Ward, Township of Perth East, 3 St. Mary's Street, North Milverton, and that the committee approve minor variance D13-A15-2023-PE, affecting lands as described above with a subject to the following condition. And number 1, the condition that the owners obtain the necessary building permit within 2 years of the approval of the minor variance. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Amanda, second by Bob. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, we have one more public hearing, and this public hearing is being held to consider an application affecting property currently owned by William J. Geese Construction Limited and Lot 17, Plan 44M80, Milverton Ward, 68 Avery Place. And I'm not going to read all the preamble, we're just going to jump down to Jeff. The floor is yours, Jeff.
Thank you. So minor variance application A16-2023 was submitted by Cedar Rose Homes. Subject property is located at 68 Avery Place in Milverton. It's located on the south side of Avery Place to the east of the terminus of Coulter Street. It's approximately 611 square meters in size and has a frontage of approximately 15.75 meters. The owner is proposing to construct a single detached dwelling and is seeking relief for the increased lot coverage of 45.6%, where 40% is the maximum allowable lot coverage. The property is recognized by the County of Perth official plan as serviced urban areas within the settlement areas, and it is the residential designation in the Milverton official plan. A single detached dwelling will add to the mix of dwelling types that are already existing in Milverton. The proposed minor variance conforms with the official plans. Property is zoned Milverton residential, low density R1-3. The proposed single detached residential dwelling is a permitted land use. The proposed dwelling will still provide for adequate area for proper grading and drainage of the lands and the required setbacks. The minor variance is appropriate development within the low density area, and the requested increase in lot coverage will not have a negative impact on the neighboring lands. The application is proposing to increase the maximum lot coverage from 40% to 45.6% to allow for the single detached dwelling. The applicant again is able to meet all other zoning bylaw requirements with the development, including parking regulations and setbacks to all lot lines. The owner is still able to provide for an adequate amount of amenity space in the rear yard, and proper drainage can still be maintained with the proposed size of the structure. The minor variance is considered to be minor in nature for the subject lands. The owner is proposing a dwelling that it can be constructed with similar size and setbacks as other properties within the neighborhood. And with the exception of the proposed increase to the lot coverage, the subject lands share the same zoning with the properties to the north, east, and west, and the development will be constructed in conformity with all other provisions of the zoning bylaw, which allows for a consistent streetscape. As a result, the planning department is of the opinion that the minor variance is desirable for the subject lands. No comments have been received from the public. The minor variance conforms with official plan policies and maintains the general intent and purpose of both the official plan and the zoning bylaw. The variance is minor and desirable for the use of the land, and as a result, approval of the minor variance is recommended, and I'm available to answer any questions from council.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition of the application? Seeing no one, is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in support of the application other than the applicant or the applicant's agent? Seeing no one, does the applicant or the applicant's agent have any comments in respect to the application? No? Okay, are there questions from the committee members? Bob?
Minor detail, but on PE 141, Jeff, maybe we could clean up the designation that Avery Place has. It's called Avery Crescent. Obviously it's not, so maybe we could, because I'm sure there'll be more minor variances that come forward on this area. Clean that up, please.
Yes, through the mayor on our GIS system, it does say Avery Place, so I will take a look at the registered plan of subdivision to confirm the proper designation for that street. Definitely.
Okay, any other questions? If not, we do have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East Committee of Adjustment receive the report dated October 17, 2023, prepared by the planner entitled Application for Minor Variance D13-A16-2023-PE, submitted by Rich Hamming, Cedar Rose Homes, Inc., on behalf of William J. Keys Construction, affecting lands described as Plan 44M80, Lot 17, Milverton, Township of Perth East, 68 Avery Crescent, Milverton, and that the committee approve minor variance D13-A16-2023-PE, affecting lands as described above, subject to the following condition, and the one condition is that the owners obtain the necessary building permit within 2 years of the approval of the minor variance. Do we have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Jerry, second by Hugh. All those in favor? Carried. I declare this public hearing closed. Okay, we're going to move on to reports, and our first report, we have no reports from planning. Our first one then is the memorandum of understanding with the Grand River Conservation under the CAO, and Mike, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. We originally saw the draft version of the MOU with GRCA back in June, and there's been some what I would call minor changes to the proposed MOU. Nothing that I think changes the intent or our understanding back in June. We did enter into the MOU with Maitland Valley Conservation Authority previously. The agreements aren't identical that we're seeing from the conservation authorities, in that each of the conservation authorities provide different levels of service when it comes to Category 2 and Category 3. So that's the difference we're seeing between GRCA and Maitland Valley Conservation Authority. I think what was important, and we shared this in June, was to understand the Category 2 programs that were being offered by GRCA, which again we've identified in the report, and ensuring that there is value for our residents in those Category 2 programs. As indicated in the financial section, there's about a $4,000 cost associated with those Category 2 programs, which I don't think is significant enough that should impact council's decision as it relates to entering to the MOU. If there are questions, I'll make best efforts to answer. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Hugh?
On page 148, the sub-watershed planning, now is that something that they don't do unless we ask them to do it?
Typically, GRCA is fairly proactive in identifying sub-watershed studies in the area, and normally they will consult with the member municipalities about which areas they think are important and get confirmation before they proceed. If there are certain areas that we identify that we would like them to look at, I think they would be receptive to that.
Okay, no, I kind of like the drains to stay unrated, but anyway. And just a question for Jake. The consolidated linear infrastructure environmental compliance approval, could you just kind of give me a clue what that's all about?
Through you, Mayor, I can certainly try. It's something that's new to us, but basically what it does is it captures all of our linear infrastructure for wastewater as well as stormwater. That doesn't really capture actually municipal drains within that CLI. But basically the process for approvals for, say, a developer coming to put in a subdivision, as opposed to going through the ministry for approval for your sanitary or your storm sewers, it's actually done through us now. That's the change that's been made. So there's a bit more legwork on our end. But that's the gist of it, really. It's just the change in approval process surrounding storm and sanitary.
Go ahead.
And I noticed there's on page 151, there's an automatic renewal every 5 years, but every year though, it'll come back though, and we'll get an update on it.
So the intent through you, Mayor, the intent is that at a staff level, it would be reviewed annually, and then every 5 years before the automatic renewal, there would be something that would come back to council. There is, there is an out clause within the agreement as well. If council's not satisfied with the contents of the MOU, there is provisions for us to bow out of the agreement as well.
But every 5 years, so it would automatically renew?
Correct. Yeah, it wouldn't have to be rewritten every 5 years.
No, but it would just automatically renew unless the council of the day
Correct.
was something different.
Okay, other questions? No, then we have a motion that council of the Township of Perth East receive the report entitled Memorandum of Understanding with the Grand River Conservation Authority to provide non-mandatory programs and service, CAO-2023-12, dated October 17, 2023, prepared by the Chief Administrative Officer for information, and further that council give 3 readings to bylaw 47-2023, authorizing the mayor and the clerk to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Grand River Conservation Authority for Category 2 programs and services. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Andrew, second by Jerry. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, and the other item is the 2024 council conferences. Oh, I'm sorry. Tender opening Curryville. I need to go home. Tender Curryville openings first.
Okay, thanks, Mayor Eggetts. So this is the tender results for the Curryville Municipal Drain. The estimated cost right now came under budget, and this is the first time that we will be using this contractor, but our drainage superintendent and engineer has worked with them before and approves. So we're just looking for that approval.
Okay, any questions? No questions. We have a motion that council of the Township of Perth East receive the report entitled Tender Opening Curryville Municipal Drain 2023 DDC-2023-38, dated October 17, 2023, prepared by the Development and Drainage Coordinator for information, and further that council award the tender for construction of the Curryville Municipal Drain 2023 to J.C. Millwrights, Inc. with their submission of $67,347.30, excluding taxes, only upon satisfactory resolution to all appeals before the Court of Revision. Moved by Bob, second by Amanda. Bob has a question.
And just to make note that the Court of Revision did meet earlier tonight and there were no landowners or appeals.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? If not, all in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're on the 2024 council conference. Ashley?
Okay, thanks, and thanks, Bob, for noting that before. As you were reading that motion, I was thinking to myself, I didn't say that out loud. So this next report, 2024 council conferences, we're just looking to get a list from council members on what conferences you'd like to attend. So when it comes time for opening, early bird registrations, hotel rooms, we are ready and have that direction. So, so far I have Councillor Smith for Roma. Is there anyone else that would like to attend Roma? Amanda? Is Councillor Broadhagen? Is there anyone else? Okay, for Good Roads, I currently have Councillor McAlpine. Is there anyone else that is wanting to attend Good Roads? Okay, Councillor Smith. Anyone else? Okay, and then through AMO, that conference, I have Councillor McAlpine. And was there anyone else? Councillor Broadhagen. And anyone else? Deputy Mayor? Okay, that's everyone? Okay. Give us 1 second.
Okay, so we have a motion that council of the Township of Perth East receive the report entitled 2024 Council Conferences CLE-2023-08, dated October 17, 2023, prepared by the municipal clerk for information, and further that the following council members will attend the listed conferences in 2024. Rural Ontario Municipal Association, Roma, January 21 to 23, 2024. Jerry Smith and Amanda Broadhaken. Ontario Good Roads Association, OGRA, April 21 to 24, April 21 to 24, 2024. Andrew McAlpine and Jerry Smith, and Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, August 18 to 21, 2024. Andrew McAlpine, Amanda Broadhaken, and Hugh McDermott. Amanda?
Just a question, is there an opportunity to like switch conferences after we pass tonight, or does it have to come back to council since we're actually listing off who's going to which conference? Reason asking is that I for sure want to go to AMO. Roma I already went to, and I'm like 80% sure I want to do Roma, so I just want to clarify the process, because I don't recall us doing this similar process last year. It was just through email, and so I just want to seek clarification, because sometimes things change. Like AMO's not till August, so a lot can happen between now and then, so I just wanted to get clarity on that process.
We haven't had this process for a few years. I think the last time we did this was for 2020 conferences. Once the registration has been processed, if something does come up and you aren't able to make it, then we would be able to amend that, but we would like to stick to this resolution.
So people can't be added, like we're given a dollar figure, right?
Yeah.
So if I decide next April I want to go in August, I can't?
I think the challenge has become, from a staff perspective, finding rooms and getting the early bird sessions has almost become a competition. So if we don't have the information well in advance of the conference, as soon as it's open, there are staff at multiple municipalities trying to register all at the same time. So as long as council is aware that they may not get accommodations or may not get accommodations directly at the conference, we're okay with that, but it does make it challenging as it relates to getting accommodations, because they have been, there seems to be a ramped up demand post-COVID, and it's been very challenging to get accommodations. And I think, all due respect to councilors, we want to get the early bird registration because that's the best value for our levy and for our ratepayers. So the intent was to try to be as organized as we can from a staff level to make sure we get accommodations and that we're getting the early bird registration. I think we can be realistic about there are things that happen that change and that people's availability does come out. We will continue to notify all members of council when the registrations are coming due, so that opportunity does present itself.
So there is flexibility then.
Sorry, just one other, that context is helpful, because we haven't seen the agendas for the conferences. And so, for example, like I went to Roma last year, but like I might want to do Good Roads instead of Roma, because they're both in Toronto and they're both very different conferences. So just wanted to flag that nuance. So I don't want to be difficult, but I also want to be respectful of staff when they're registering. So please don't register me right away for Roma, is what I'm saying. But for sure AMO, yeah. Okay.
Hugh?
Just a question, if, would the 3,000 cover the councilors that are on council if they wanted to go to all three? Like, would you be able to go to all three if you wanted to?
I have my doubts.
Yeah.
Because
3,000, no
yeah.
chance.
AMO alone, when I went to London this last year, was $1,000 to register. And then rooms would have been on top of that, travel and food. And, you know, rooms are $250 and up, most places, right? So I wouldn't think that you'll get three out of our allowance, no.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to.
Yeah. Yes. I did read it?
Yes.
We just need a mover and a seconder? Anyone to move it? Jerry, Hugh, any more questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have no reports from finance, no reports from public works and parks, nothing from building, nothing from recreation, nothing from fire. So we're down to correspondence. And our first item of correspondence is from Stephen and Casey Hownick and at the Perth Farmhouse, and they're looking for support for a Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario license. So we do have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the correspondence from Stephen and Casey Hownick, the Perth Farmhouse dated October 6, 2023, regarding a liquor sales license application with the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, AGCO, for information, and further that council support the issuance of the AGO liquor sales license for the Perth Farmhouse Winery at 4596 Road 101, Perth East, Ontario. Do we have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Hugh, second by Andrew. All in favor? Carried. And the second item of correspondence is from Jeremy, the president of Milverton Business Association, and it's in regards to the Merry Milverton Christmas event on Friday, November the 17th, road closure request. Okay, well, I'll read it and then we'll move it. So the Council of the Township of Perth East received the correspondence from Jeremy Matheson, President, Milverton Business Association, dated October 12, 2023, regarding the Merry Milverton Christmas event on Friday, November 17, 2023, road closure request for information that council approved the road closure along Main Street, Milverton, from George Street through downtown to Grove Street, starting at 4:30 until 9 p.m. in order to accommodate the Merry Milverton Christmas event, and that the event organizers provide sufficient volunteers necessary to control detoured and rerouted traffic, and that the corporation of the Township of Perth East and Perth County be listed an additional insured, but only with respects to their interest in the operation of the name insured. Moved by Hugh, second by Amanda. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're going to move to council and committee reports. There's no meeting log. It came last meeting. Is there any reports anyone has for any of the committees that people sit on? Are you gonna do the, we'll do
I'll
it.
start with the Perth East twinning.
Do you want to do it now? Should it be
Sure,
this
go for it, Ron.
part? Sure, go ahead. Sure, go ahead, Jared.
Oh, just initially, thanks to everyone. It was a huge success. With Mayor, I probably want to speak about it as well because she was in attendance. Everyone did a great job. We toured the facilities, our township hall here. Thanks to CAO and staff, thanks to Laura and her staff, the library, thanks to the Perk and Becky staff, and the fire station over here in Milverton too, so Bill and his staff. So it was a huge success. It was a great night, and it sounds like we're perhaps planning to go there in a couple of years.
Okay. Anyone else on that topic? And I'll just say a couple words too. It was a wonderful experience. I wasn't totally sure what to expect. I knew they were coming, and yeah, it was very unique. The Friday night was great. We had a barbecue. Saturday, as Jerry said, we toured the facilities. Then I took the mayor actually to my farm. He wanted to see where I lived, so we took him to the farm. And then at night, their band came, and it was great. Oktoberfest was great. So I can't thank committee enough. I know Jerry and Jeremy and Amanda sat on the committee here from council, and Evelyn for all that she did. Patrick, I saw Patrick everywhere. He was there, and I'm sure there was other committee members too that all helped and made it the success it was, and thanks to staff too for opening up all the buildings on a holiday. So it was a wonderful experience. Yes, they're looking 2 years to go back. This is what the mayor brought me. It's tall building, he told me. I think it's this one. That is their office in Nearsheim, and that must be their little mascot, the sheep. So yeah, so it was a great event. So thanks again for everyone who helped. Okay, then we'll move on to bylaws. We have 4 bylaws that have first, second, third, and final reading, and the first one is bylaw 46, 2023, and it's a bylaw to amend bylaw 53, 2017, which provides for the erection of stop signs at intersection Gerber Drive and Cobalt Street South. The second one, 47, 2023, a bylaw to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Grand River Conservation, GRCA, for non-mandatory services and programs. Third one, bylaw 201, 2023, and it's a bylaw to amend 30, 1999, concession 9, North Part Lot 9, 7422, Road 129, Mornington Ward, Stryker Transport, Inc. And the fourth one is bylaw 205, 2023, a bylaw to amend 30, 1999, Part Lot 26, Concession 6, 3424, Road 108A, Southeast Hope Board, and that was a Steinman application. So these bylaws be read a first, second, third, and final time. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh, all in favor? Carried.
There wasn't a motion for these, for the verbal report.
Oh, yeah, okay, and we need a motion that the verbal reports are received. Moved by Amanda, second by Jerry, all in favor? Carried. Okay, there's no need for a closed session. Do we have any? Oh, we do have, well, it doesn't say that on here. Oh, it does say that on here. I need to go home, I told you that. Vacation and everything goes to pot. Oh, my gosh. So we do have a need for closed session, and do you have that motion to go into close? No, first we'll do this other. So do we have any new business? Any notice of motions? Any announcements? Okay, nope, none for the above. Then we'll go back to the motion to go into closed session. So the regular meeting of council of the Township of Perth East be temporarily adjourned at 8:01 PM to permit the holding of a meeting in closed session for the purpose of the security of the property of the municipality of local board. Moved by Andrew, second by Bob, all in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone else. Hope you have a good night. I wish I was going home with you, but I'm not. Anyway, have a great rest of your night.
Is there something I can
Okay, we're back, and we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East rise from closed session and reconvene at regular at 8:38 PM. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh, all in favor? Carried. And we have a motion that bylaw number 48, 2023, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of Council of the Township of Perth East at its regular meeting held on October 17, 2023, be read a first, second, and third time. Amanda and Hugh, all in favor? Carried. And the final motion of the night that we adjourn at 8:39 PM. Amanda and Jerry, all in favor? Carried. Great, thanks.